Hello BookTube. For the first of the two tags I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be doing the wine book tag created by Alan Braswell, whose original video will be linked down below. Before I begin though, full disclosure, I don't drink alcohol. When I was 21, I had just turned 21, I went and bought a bottle of wine from H-E-B. And when I figured out how to open it and had a glass or a cup, it tasted like turpentine, or what I imagine turpentine to taste. It was atrocious. So I think I dumped it out or tossed it, and I don't think I ever bought another bottle of wine. And then about a year and more later, I went to a conference in Portland for the Sigma-Tau Delta, which is a English major association that aims to get English majors, undergraduates, experience going and presenting at conferences. So the 2006 conference was in Portland, and me and several others who went from my school, we went to a bar that one of them found, and I had a beer, and again, it tasted atrocious. It was like, how can anybody drink this stuff? So I just had to drink with water. So I will trust to Alan and those of you who have far more experience with wine to, tell me the descriptions of the wines. So anyway, on with the tags or the prompts. Number 1, Cabernet Sauvignon, full-bodied, dense, dark wine. What book is a dense read, or took you a while for you to figure out what the author was communicating? For this book, I'm going to go with Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. This book has become rather infamous in the year since it's been released for being rather difficult and hard to follow. But essentially, once you basically figure out how it works, it's not really all that difficult. I mean, it's the language, it's the structure. It's essentially the main character, Tracker, is imprisoned. He's being interrogated, and he begins to tell his interrogator the story of his life, his various adventures before the adventure that forms, or the adventures that form the backbone of Black Leopard, Red Wolf, which is the search for a missing boy and the quest to gain revenge on that missing boy several years later. But the writing, the language is rather dense and complicated, and I am quite looking forward to rereading in the near future. Prompt number 2, Merlot, medium-bodied softness. What book was a cozy or soft read? I'm going to go with Alice Munro's Charming Billy. It's been quite a few years since I read Charming Billy, but I remember it being quite cozy read, that it was a quite delightful read. 3, Pinot Noir, romantic of wines, described as sex in a glass. What book did you read that had a romantic scene? In this case, I'm going to go with The Last Sun by Katie Edwards. So, about 2/3 of the way through the book, Rune St. John, the main protagonist and narrator, is running through this wild region of Nantucket. Basically, in the story, Atlantis was real and eventually relocated to the island of Nantucket after the Atlantean World War. And part of the island has become this tortured, wild, magical place. And so Rune and his love interest Adam are running through or trekking through this forest, this wild, magical place, to get to the magician's compound. And during the trek, they take refuge in the summer home of, I want to say it's the Wheel. And there you kind of get a nice romantic scene between the two. Book number 4, Rose, Summer Wine. What is your summer read? I don't really have summer reads. I don't have books that I read in like winter or spring or summer or fall. I just generally read everything the whole year round. But I'm going to go with the book that will be my next immediate read, which will be Jim Grimsley's Boulevard, which I mentioned in my Pride TBR, and a book that I haven't read since I bought it, which is a gross oversight on my part, but I'm definitely looking forward to finally reading Boulevard. Number 5, Chardonnay, medium light body white wine. What book did you read that was a light read? I could go with Agatha Christie, but I'm not. I'm going to go with Dr. No by Ian Fleming. This is the only edition of Dr. No that I have, and I really want a different one. I hate these editions. So for those, most of you should know the general plot of Dr. No. You probably have seen the movie. And the book isn't all that different, except for the reason why Bond is so gung-ho about taking on Dr. No. So Dr. No is the sequel to Live and Let Die, in which during the Jamaica parts of that novel, Bond meets Strangeways and Quarrel. And so the death of Strangeways, the murder of Quarrel, and murder of Strangeways and his assistant, ticked James Bond off enough to where when he finds out what happened, he goes on a roaring rampage of revenge. So, but definitely it's a rather light read. Number 6, Sauvignon Blanc. Described as a wild white wine. What book did you read depicted the outdoors or wilderness? For this, I'm going to go with Micah Yongo's Lost Gods, which is generally takes place in the more rural, wild parts of this setting. There are a few cities. The capital takes up a good chunk of the story. Another major city, a destroyed city, but generally the story takes place in more wild settings, or more rural, uncultivated settings. So, number 7, Port, dessert wine, known for its richness. What book have you read that was rich from start to finish? For this, I'm going to go with Radiance by Catherynne and Valente. I could also have put this book in with the Cabernet Sauvignon, but I went with Port for this one. This book is just so rich, so complicated and fun and just enjoyable. Absolutely love this book, which is probably why I talk about it so much in these tags. And finally, number 8, Prosecco, sparkling wine, used in celebrations. So if you enjoyed this tag, or if you would like to wax about books and wine, consider yourselves tagged if you haven't already done this tagging. Sorry about this light ray right here. I don't know what's gotten into either my tablet or my light fixtures. Anyway, thank you, BookTube, and I will be back very shortly with another tag video. Thank you and stay safe.